Are you having fun? Omega's got a sensational voice, hasn't he? You can sing, man. You can sing so well. Anyway, it's great to be here, and it's great the sun's coming out. And I just want to say, I'm really sad. This is the first time I've been to Parachute, and I've got to come back year after year because it was such a great show.
You're welcome.
So here's what happened. We make sure you have a heap of fun over the weekend, and thanks for being great young New Zealanders and for believing in New Zealand. It's an amazing country, so we're here to support you.
Well, John, you know, I've never heard a welcome like that at Parachute.
No.
You must be liked by this group of people.
No, thank you.
You know? He actually, when I met him, he said I was allowed to call him John, which is pretty cool, isn't it, for a Prime Minister?
You can call me John too.
You can call him John. And I was quite impressed by that, but really, we are really appreciative that you've come here. And we just want to say, as New Zealanders, we appreciate what you do. And as Christians, it's our belief that we are there to support our leaders. And so, you know, some people here probably didn't vote for you, some did. But we want to say, all of us support you as the leader of our country, and we want you to know that and feel that from this group of people. Okay? So, well, I've just got a couple of questions that I thought I'd ask. I did a tweet to ask people for ideas for questions. Some of them I won't use. I can show you afterwards. They're usually the ones about whether I wear boxers or jockeys. Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. The after jockeys that we
I can change you to see me nice enough here, but I'll let you know.
Oh, there's going to be trouble here this morning, I can see. The first question I have is, it would seem to me that being Prime Minister of New Zealand is a pretty tough job, right? Like, it looks like whatever you do, you know, whether if your ministers fly first class, they get criticised. If you make a decision, half the country criticises you. Why would you want to be Prime Minister of New Zealand?
Well, the answer is not everyone gets to stand up here like this. This is cool. Now, the truth of it is, I've always wanted to be Prime Minister ever since I was about 11 or 12. And I certainly can't sing, dance or draw, so there's no chance of me being artistic. And look, I believe in New Zealand. I think it's an amazing country, and we have such an incredible future in front of us. I mean, if you think what's going to happen in the next 20 years, Asia is just going to explode in growth. There's going to be amazing opportunities, and I want to be part of that, and part of making sure that New Zealanders could see a future, could see that the country's going to be cool, wanted to stay here and be part of it. And you know, I believe in aspiration and the politics of achievement and the politics of people doing well, not the politics of envy.
Awesome. That's really cool. Okay. So you obviously have a very busy life. I'm sure you go from engagement to engagement to engagement. Do you have any hobbies? Like, what do you do to unwind? What does the Prime Minister do to just take it easy?
I cook. So, if you want me to come by your tent tonight and just let me know what you would like me to cook. My specialty's been strong enough, so I don't know if you like that. But anyway, we're going to go. I play golf. My son is 15, so he's quite keen on playing golf. And my daughter's 17. Stay away from her. Okay, she's a great girl. She's actually in France at the moment. She's on AFS for a year. She's having a really nice time over there. So that's good. So we do a lot of family things. You know, we'll go to movies, read the odd books, bits and pieces, just normal stuff.
Very good, very interesting. So you're a cook.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, another question. What does it mean to be a New Zealander? Like, is there something that makes a New Zealander a New Zealander? I mean, Paul Henry made the famous comments about our Governor General.
Yeah. Didn't work so well for him, but
it wasn't a great move in his career.
No.
But what makes New Zealander?
Well, I think it's the belief in New Zealand that your heart's in New Zealand, because you don't actually physically always have to be here. I spent 7 years working in London and New York and Singapore, but I always knew I was a New Zealander. And it's a belief that this is the best little country in the world. And I think, yeah, it's true. And I tell you what you really notice when you go overseas and you live overseas for a while, it's funny the things you miss. You miss the big skies that New Zealand has, the really blue sky. You miss the ocean. You know, you miss the clean air, and you miss the fact that New Zealanders are friendly. I remember when I was living in London, you would walk down the street, no one would say anything to you. You come back to New Zealand the first sort of few days when you're back, You wouldn't say anything to anyone. People go past and go, hello, hello. And by the time you go back to London after 2 or 3 weeks in New Zealand, you say hello to people and they think you're going to mug them. So it's just a different sort of style, and yeah, it's kind of cool being a Kiwi. So that's what I reckon. It's where your heart is.
Great, that's really cool. Okay, so most of the people here in this audience go to church, not all of them, but definitely a good lot of them. Do you see the church having an important role in New Zealand society?
Yeah, I think churches have a big role in New Zealand society. So, I mean, by definition, there's a separation between church and state, but the churches have a huge influence in the thinking and the ideas, and I meet with the church leaders on a very regular basis, probably every 6 months, the big leaders from all of the churches around the country. I go out and speak to a lot of audiences that are interested in hearing from me. And I think they bring a great perspective. And if you look at what's happening here this weekend, I mean, this is, I think, a celebration of what New Zealand should be like, which is people being able to go out, enjoy great music, have fun, feel safe, and feel like part of a family. And if that's what religion is, then it's a good thing.
That's awesome. That's great.
Okay, so final question. Just say something more about how you see New Zealand in 10 years' time. Like what? You know, you're the guy in the position who can make the most difference in New Zealand. What is your vision of what this country will be in 10 years' time?
Yeah, so the simple answer is New Zealand has to be wealthier. And the reason we've got to be wealthier is that if a country earns more money, it can spend it on the things that it wants. So whether it's a good education system, or it's helping people who come from disadvantaged backgrounds, or it's kind of building basic infrastructure, all that sort of stuff, we've got to be wealthier. The second thing is that the world is changing. So like I said about Asia before, just to give you an idea, none of you spent 7 hours in bed last night. I'm not believing that. I think, especially if you're tenting over there, you haven't got any sleep. But in 7 hours last night, we sold more to China than we sold in all of 1972. That's how the world's changing. So there is a huge opportunity for New Zealand as Asia just gets so much bigger for us to really sell a lot of things there. And one of the reasons we have been putting about $1.5 billion into ultra-fast broadband so that you can have 100 megs up and down. Yeah, exactly. So you can have music, TV, whatever it is you want on the internet. I'll tell you why we're doing that. Because we've got to have services and industries and companies that can operate in New Zealand even though we're a long way away. So if you look at Weta Workshops, those guys have got a computer that's 7 times more powerful than any computer in Australia. And if we want them to stay, that's good actually, we're beating the Aussies on that one. So we need them to be here. So the long and short of it is, I think if we get to a point where we take advantage of those things, then we can give you reasons to stay and to believe that New Zealand's going to produce the lifestyle that you want, and not just a nice place to bring up a family. So that my vision is a wealthier New Zealand. It's also a New Zealand where New Zealanders do well, and where they support each other, and we actually keep what's important to us. And the last thing I'd sort of say is, New Zealand's increasingly becoming a multicultural society, and I think that's a good thing. I think it makes us a lot more interesting, and it makes us a lot more understanding of what's happening around the world, and it makes us outward looking, and that's good. We want to be a dynamic place. We don't want to be a boring place. We want to be a dynamic country where you can do things, and you're proud to be a New Zealander.
Thank you, John. Anyone excited about being a Kiwi this morning? You know, I think we have one of the best national anthems in the world. We do. And it's an anthem that talks about God defending New Zealand, and we believe that God does defend our country. And I'm wondering, with you being here, whether you'd mind singing the national anthem with us? As long as I really sings with me.